Hello everyone, I'm Karol and welcome to the FabTCG YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be giving you 5 tips and tricks on the Rosetta Draft format. So Rosetta is my favorite format to draft because of how open it is. You have 2 classes, Wizard and Runeblade, and 2 elements, Earth and Lightning, to pick from. And because of all these choices, you actually have a lot of options during the draft to kind of pick and choose which lane you want to go down. It features a lot of synergies and you have a lot of choices on how do you want to draft a particular hero and what strategy you want to go with. So unlike previous draft formats, most of the cards in the packs can be used by multiple heroes, which means that during the draft process, you have a lot more flexibility into which direction you want to go with. For example, I can choose to lock into an Earth element and keep on drafting Earth cards, but I still have the option to go Earth Wizard or Earth Runeblade. So what this means is you're not as locked into a particular hero early on in the draft, and you can just kind of maneuver your way through the draft and see what other players are picking to pick something that is more open. So the first tip is being aware of those lanes. So you have the Wizard lane, the Runeblade lane, the Lightning lane, and the Earth lane. And that can keep you flexible during the draft, kind of knowing what lanes there are. You can see what cards the person to your right has been picking to kind of dictate what is open and what to jump into. And there are cards like this Final Fighting Spirit that you can pick up early and be completely open to any hero. So if early on in the draft, if you see a certain element or class cards missing from a pack, it probably means the people next to you are picking up those cards. So it's probably not a good idea to jump into those classes or elements. I personally love playing Lightning, so a lot of the time, because I just love the Lightning heroes, I like to pick up Lightning cards early and then determine whether I want to go into the Wizard or the Runeblade. And picking a particular class card or element early kind of signals also to the person next to you that those cards are going to be missing and they better not jump into that lane. Now the second tip is, this set features these new meld cards that are extremely strong, but they are locked into a particular hero. So picking up these early does lock you into a particular hero, but the cards are so powerful that it might be worth it. So the meld cards are really powerful because they specifically synergize with the hero that you're playing with. So for example, this one here, with the Vidin's ability, not only are you getting the ping from the life gain, but you're also doing some extra arcane damage. And also these cards all defend for 3, so they're good on offense and defense. Also, if you end up locking into a hero that's not as popular on the table, chances are that these will be passed to you later on in the draft. So this set features a lot of different card synergies, where the individual cards might not be that strong, but when you combine them together, you can do crazy powerful things. Now, some of these are present in a particular element or a particular class, or just all over the place. One of my favorites is these 2 cards, Arcane Cussing and Deadwood Dirge. So Arcane Cussing has a bit of a hoop you have to jump through. When you deal or are dealt damage, destroy this. When this leaves the arena during your turn, create 2 Runechant tokens. Deadwood Dirge has a bit of a hoop to jump through, where you have to sacrifice an aura to get its effect in full. But when you combine these together, you are kind of using both of them to jump over each other's hoops and get the full power from both. Because of these synergies, on their own, some of these cards might not look that great, but when you combine them with other cards, they're actually amazing. And that's the cool thing about a draft, is because on their own they aren't that great, it's quite easy to see them later on, and they actually can do some insanely powerful things. So the thing about Rosetta Draft is every single hero can do arcane damage, and there's only few ways to mitigate that damage. Earth has access to life gain, and Lightning has access to some damage prevention, but there are great generic cards like this Arcane Polarity that can go into any hero to make sure you're protected from arcane damage. And yeah, just remember to be mindful when you're dropping down low life that it can get pretty hard to stop that arcane damage when it starts coming. That's why having these kinds of cards can be amazing at protecting your life total. And lastly, we have our first macro in Flesh and Blood Draft, Sanctuary of Arya, which is a way of preventing damage, any damage, doesn't matter if it's physical or arcane, throughout the game. This macro starts in play and it's a great way to stop some of that early damage if your opponent is, for example, presenting arcane damage at the very first turn of the game, or later on in the game when you're getting to low life. It can be a great way to kind of mitigate some split damage as well. So Sanctuary of Arya says, instant, 2 resources, prevent the next 1 damage that would be dealt to you this turn by a source of your choice. Destroy this at the beginning of the end phase. Note that this isn't once per turn. You can sink as many resources into this as you want on that one singular turn. So we're heading into Rosetta season, so you can see a lot of drafts popping up in your local game stores, but also big tournaments like Callings are going to feature Rosetta Limited as well. I hope you can take these tips and enjoy drafts with your friends or your local game stores.